Welcome back, Shalloners. Today we are going to talk about Kendall Jenner and Kylie Jenner's guy friend, Fai, and how he fits into their universe. And more importantly, what to do when you have a guy friend who's in the friend zone, but you think he might kind of like you. How to address it, whether or not you should give him a chance, the possible fallouts, and if you realize you shouldn't address it or shouldn't go there, what to say to shut him down politely, but kindly, but finally, right? We're going to get into all of it. But first, be sure to follow me on Instagram at ShallonXO. You guys voted on this topic. I let you weigh in on whether or not you wanted to see, like, if you're the one in the friend zone or if there's a guy in the friend zone, because the friend zone is a desolate, complicated circle of hell that we have all been in or been dealing with someone who was in it. We've all been there. Also, be sure to find me on InfStream. It's a sexy new platform where we can talk all about the girl talk stuff that matters to us. SEX. If you go there right now, we have a hand job tutorial going up. Or why did I do that? I'm so sorry. It's up right now. I'm going to give you some tips and tricks on how to make HJs something that's not like weird anymore, because it's like, who really wants them? The guys. You learn this trick, everyone's going to want this. So head on over there. It's ad-free. It's $2 a month. It's wonderful. And we can talk all about stuff. Next week, we're going to do a BJ tutorial inspired by Kim Kardashian. And speaking of the K's, let's get into this. So right now, Kylie Jenner and Kendall Jenner are at the Amangiri, is that how you say it, resort in Utah. And at first she's like, I'm in the Wild West. And people are like, bitch, stop copying Shallon. I was like, thank you. Get out of the Wild West. Like, I'm in Montana. There ain't room enough in this state for the both of us. But she's in Utah, still uncomfortably close, but I will allow it. But she's not there alone. Kendall's out there too. Kylie's out there, and like a bunch of their dude friends, like Zach Bia, DJ Zach Bia. Okay, he dated Madison Beer for like 2 years. Dude should get a Congressional Medal of Honor, but that's fine. And their other friend, Fai. Now, Fai, I think his last name is Khadra. I might be butchered. I hope not. Fai has been on the scene a lot. He's been sort of like Kendall and Kylie's go-to date. Like, I think Kendall took him as her date to Justin and Hailey's wedding, and she even said online, like, relax, we're not dating, he's just my date, like, we're just friends, whatever. But then she was like holding a picture of like one of Kim's kids, and it's like, hey, should Fai and I start a family, blah blah blah. So it's like, what's going on? Because he's in the background of all these pics. Kylie's posed with him, but then Kendall's also posed with him. Like, is he hooking up with one of them? Is he gay? We just don't know it yet. Has he hooked up with Courtney? That's a big rumor that's been out there, that after she broke up with Eunice, sorry, a tag is itching. After she broke up with Eunice, she was hooking up with Fai. Like, is he just the village bicycle that everyone's had a ride on? I mean, dude, there's worse lives to live than that, my man. Who is this guy? He is the brother of some DJ duo, some two girls DJ, I don't care. And he's also a DJ on SoundCloud and a model and an influencer. So who fucking knows? He's just like a person who's kind of there making his music. Do you guys remember the episode of Friends when Ross made music? And Rachel's like, I can't believe I let him touch me with those fingers. I say it all the time. All the time. It's so good. It's so good. So who is this dude? We really don't know where he fits into the Kar Jenner universe, but he seems to fit in somewhere. And he seems to be a go-to guy that the girls turn to when they need like a surrogate boyfriend. Either they're on vacation and they want sort of like some male energy, you know, like a couple's trip, but like not really, because whatever. Or like a date to a wedding where it's like, oh, we could like sort of look at each other in the romantic parts and we could dance and maybe we'll hook up, but like that's as far as we need to go. It's very fishy, very interesting. I haven't really heard any rumors about him, like behind the scenes stuff. Like I haven't heard any tea. And so that makes me wonder if maybe he's just like a vault of secrets. Maybe he is gay. Like maybe he's hooking up with the food god, Jonathan Shepard. Don't even get me fucking started. I would never wish that on any gay man. Never. I can't stand Jonathan Shepard. He's the rudest person. The attitude and the talent could not be more disparate. Could not be more disparate. An ocean of difference between those two things. But what if you are dealing with your own Fai? Because let's say that he's straight, right? And it doesn't really matter if he's boning Kendall or Kylie or both of them or whatever, or neither, because maybe Kendall's a lesbian and Kylie's back with Travis. Who knows? What we care about is what we can get from this. Oh man, the friend zone is crazy. And most of us have been on both sides of it. We have been in the friend zone. Like, I get questions from you guys all the time. Like, I like my guy friend and he's my best guy friend and I realize I have feelings for him, but blah, blah, blah. How do I get him to see me that way? You know what? Let's just tackle that. Let's just tackle that right up front. How do you get out of the friend zone? It is not easy, my friends. It is not easy. You have to almost completely rebrand yourself. Guys thrive on novelty, which is why it's awful to be in the friend zone and you know this guy, this tag, you know this guy inside and out, you're his best friend, he confides in you, and then some bitch named Jessica comes along and she's like whatever-ish and he's like, oh, I love her. And you're like, really? But you know me. Therein lies the problem. He knows you. There's nothing left to discover. So in order to get out of the friend zone, you got to pull way back. You got to reel that contact back in and you have to rebrand. You got to feminine it up. You got to girly it up. Because if he sees you as one of the dude bros, but with enough estrogen feminine energy to give him that warm, cuddly, emotional, safe place to fall, yo, you know what that is? Do you know what a warm, cuddly female that you don't want to have sex with is? Ya mama. That's who that is. Ya mama. I know all about her. She's there for me. No. That's not that kind of dynamic. Mama, sister, whatever you want to dress that up as, it's not where you want to be. So you have to pull back and really rebrand. But the problem with being a girl in the friend zone, because I've watched my guy friends or my ex-boyfriends do this, is okay, so I was dating this guy, Bradley. I loved him so much. Well, I don't know, not really. he was like a Hurt Locker. And he had this female friend, Kristen. I think that's why I use Kristen as all my bitchy girl example name. I just put that together. Sorry about it. But we were dating. It was so hot and heavy and so crazy. And he would always tell me about Kristen this and Kristen that. And I'm like, what the fuck is the deal with you two? Have you guys hooked up? And he's like, no. I'm like, she's in love with you. One of you is in love with the other. You wouldn't be this close and spending this much time together and confiding if you didn't have feelings. And he's like, well, it's not me. It's not me. I have feelings for you. He's like, if I want to be with her, I would. I was like, aha, that tells me that you know she likes you because you know you can get it whenever. And he's like, no, but she really likes you. She's Team Shallon. I'm like, oh, I fucking bet she is. Okay. So we took a break. We broke up for I don't know, a week or two. And guess what? He had sex with Kristen. And I was devastated because I'm like, I fucking knew it. Me as the girlfriend, having that spidey sense about the best female friend was not wrong. And it's funny, you guys, when you're in the Kristen position and you message me, if you guys want to ask me a question, you can do it on my website, shallonlester.com. You're like, fuck his new girlfriend. She hates me. I'm like, can't you understand why you want to bone her boyfriend? Yeah, man, wars are fought over land. You're on her territory. And I get that you were there first, but not in the same way. Not in the same way. And so after Bradley hooked up with Kristen, I was like, well, I guess you guys are just going to be together now, huh? And he's like, oh no. He's like, it was almost like a curiosity lay. I guess there was tension there. He's like, but more on her side. It was like, oh yeah, what would it be like to hook up with her? Oh, now I know. And I hear this story from you guys too, right? I finally hooked up with my best guy friend and it's not going anywhere. That's because it can be a curiosity-based conquest. And guys are the worst. Can I just tell you, I'm in a mood. I feel like I'm just very muted today. I'm just in a mood. Do you ever talk to somebody and open up and you're like, this is how I feel, or my feelings are hurt, or this is what I need? Or maybe you're mad and then somehow things get twisted around so you're apologizing to them. And you're like, how did this happen? How did this happen? I'm gonna get upset, but it's gaslighting, and I don't even know. And because you come out of it feeling crazy. And you don't even think it's gaslighting because you're like, no, they're right. And it's like, well, they might be right. Maybe I am being crazy. Maybe I'm being high maintenance and insane. And anyway, what are we talking about? Oh, yeah. Kristen. That's who the fuck we were talking about. When you're in the Kristen position, it's heartbreaking because guys are reckless. They're like a little kid behind the wheel of a car. Toot, toot, I'm honking the horn, I'm pressing the pedals. Someone put that fucking car in drive, right? And they are going 1,000 miles an hour down the wrong way and you're in the passenger seat. That's how it feels. I don't know, we just hooked up and one thing led to another. It's like, do you understand what that meant to that person? Do you understand what that meant? You want to go out and get your DS? Like, you could do that at any bar in America. There are desperate hoes everywhere. Okay? So things crashed and burned with him. We got back together. We broke up obviously later, but I still kind of feel bad for her. Not really. She fucked my boyfriend when we were on a break, but I know that that's happened so much. So if you're in that position, you got to pull back, rebrand, see if he takes the bait. Do not be that emotional support system for him anymore. You are not a free therapist. There's no more free labor. This isn't a large scale charity with a penis. No, absolutely not. So you pull back, rebrand, and see what he does. Or if you do hook up with him, then definitely see what he does. Because if he is into you, all he needs is a little foothold. And he's like, I'm making the big grand gesture. I'm making you mine, blah, blah, blah. A man knows where to find you. Okay? If he wants you, he will come after you. It might not be super smooth. It might not be the, rom-com grand gesture, but he's going to make it known unequivocally that he wants you. Why? Because men are hunters. And I mean, I'm dealing with these dudes out here in Montana. They are literal hunters, and it's never been more crucial for me to keep this as my motto. Let him hunt. And if he's not hunting you, he doesn't want to, he doesn't think you have value to be hunted, or he doesn't think there's any urgency because who else is going to want to hunt her? None of these are acceptable for me, and they're not acceptable for the Shallon Entourage either. But let's say you're possibly in the position of Fai, because I like to think that the girls are rejecting him, not him rejecting the girls, because if he was chronically rejecting them, I don't think they would still keep him around, right? Like, why would, and I don't think they would kind of like share him back and forth in like terms of dates and photos. Like, if it was, no, you broke my sister's heart, you're not coming on this fucking trip. Like, no. Or like, even if Kylie wants that to happen, I, as Kendall, am not allowing that. We're not bringing this fuckboy who hurts you over and over again to Utah. I mean, there's a lot of holes to dig in Utah. You can solve a lot of problems in the desert. Problems. Yes, I'm going to do a house tour eventually. I just wanted to get like a little more situated. I'm like a big reveal kind of person, not an along the way person. So I just want you guys to see it when it's all pretty and done. So Fai. Faux fum. I'm so sorry. I believe he's in the friend zone because like, how could he kind of not fall in love with these girls? I mean, at least one of them. You put all the Kardashians together, you're a red-blooded American boy. You're going to have the hots for one of them at least. So here's what to do if you're realizing your guy friend ain't a friend at all. And that is the first thing you need to realize. Friendships are neutral, right? I don't want to have sex with Becca or Sarah or Diane or Katie or any of my female friends. And I'm bisexual, right? But that's like church and state, totally separate. It's like the girls I date are not the girls who I'm friends with. That's like so weird. The girls I'm friends with, like we're neutral. That's what friendship is. And that's also why I don't have guy friends. Look, at some juncture, for two people, a guy and a girl to become friends, someone has to be attracted to the other person. They wouldn't even start speaking to one another unless that was there. Now, to the degree of attraction, I cannot say. I cannot attest. Because guys, unlike girls, can like you just a little bit. This is one of the main differences between men and women. And truly, it's what so many of our broken hearts come down to. Because it's like, I know he likes me. Why isn't he doing this? Why isn't he doing that? Like, I like him. And for me, liking a guy means I'm like kind of all in. Or you're at very least like willing to let those feelings grow and manifest. Guys, it can be like, vacation girl, boop, put you on a shelf. It's like, girlfriend back home, boop, on that shelf. Girl who's fun to text, boop, doesn't really need to go further. And we're like, So it's difficult to gauge actually their true interest even if like you guys were attracted to each other at some point. And I can see the value in having guy friends when you're younger, when you're like Kylie's age, because you're still learning about the opposite sex and you need someone to be like, here's what guys mean, here's how they interact. You need to get comfortable with them. Again, dating's like anything else. You have to practice to be good at it. And sometimes guy friends are kind of like our little training wheels. They're like our little baby experiment. But as you get older, there is less and less need for guy friends in your life. And of course, there's exceptions, but I personally don't really have guy friends. Like I have like one or two, but we don't hang out or talk at the same rate that my female friends. Why? Because it's a waste of my fucking time. And it's a waste of my emotions. If I'm around a dude who I have even a vague attraction to, that's going to grow. And that's going to get me far down a dead end path. Because the truth is, if a guy wanted me, he would have asked me out. Like guys don't bide their time for like 6 months, a year and a half. Like they just don't do that because they're hunters. When a hunter gets a clear shot, they take it. They're like, that was a great shot. No, I could have had it. I'm going to wait another 7 days of tracking this bull elk. No, I'm going to shoot it when I can shoot it and I'm going to go home and eat it. Mount its little head on the wall. I'm in Montana. I'm learning a lot about mounts. So I can see why Kendall and Kylie would have Fai around, but I do think he's in the friend zone. So yes, you need to understand that this is actually not a friendship. That's not what you have here. Because a lot of you guys are like, I just don't want to lose the friendship. Bitch, that is not the truth. What you don't want to lose is a different word that starts with an F. Fan. You don't want to lose a fan. Why am I saying fan? Oh, I don't think of him that way. Don't you? Isn't your ego on some level getting fed by knowing that this guy is just waiting in the wings? Isn't he your plan B? Maybe plan C, D, E, or F? Isn't he sort of back there? I had a bad day and no one's paying attention to me. I'm going to text Fai. I know he's going to respond. He's going to send me an emoji. I'm going to feel good. We don't do these things out of malice, but we still do them because it's our ego driving us, not our head and not even our heart. This is our ego. And it is easy to talk your head out of something. It's actually pretty easy to talk your heart out of something. Talking your ego out of something, taking candy away from that baby. Don't try it. It's why we get twisted on ugly guys who neg us. Because we go for like the Ed Sheeran, the Post Malone, and we're like, I know he's going to love me. Nobody else loves me. And then he rejects you and you're like, I'm so sorry. I was just hallucinated. I thought you rejected me. What? And we get twisted, but it's our ego. It's not our heart. And it works with guys in the friend zone too. We don't want to lose that fan. And that's understandable. Everyone likes fans. I've got hundreds of thousands of them. I love all of you guys. But it's my ego, But I don't keep these kinds of people in my life not because I'm just such a good person. It's because it's honestly more trouble than it's worth. And if you're watching this video, you're probably at that tipping point as well, where it's like, he's starting to get weird, or I'm picking up on some things and he made a move and I'm kind of grossed out. I don't know what to do. I don't know how to shut this guy down. First of all, you know what I'm going to say? Be better than the guys who have put you in the friend zone. No exploratory biting. No curiosity sex. Nope. Well, I don't know. I'm sad, so I'm just going to go. We're just going to cuddle. No, don't do that to him. Do you like it when people do that to you? No. Just because it's easy doesn't mean it's right, And don't lie to yourself about the reality of this. Don't date with your ego in mind. Fine, I'm just going to go for him because I know he's going to love me. Well, do you love him? No? Then who are you doing a favor to here? You deserve to be in a relationship with someone you actually like. Otherwise, you're going to get the ick, which is terrible. Or, he also deserves to be with someone who wants to be with him. Again, we've all been involved with the fuckboy who's using us to feed his own ego. Ego. Hopefully not an actual ego. Eagle. Ugh, I am all over the place today. And we can't be a fuck girl. We can't be a fuck girl. It's hurtful and it's not right. We have to be the example that we want mirrored back to us. You know, we can't expect a quality guy to come into our life and treat us right if we're, quite frankly, not quality women. And some of us aren't there right now. And, you know, we go through our little blips and spurts of like being good, being not so good. But it all just comes down to self-awareness. You know, what's driving what I'm doing? What's driving how I'm feeling? Is that healthy? Is it destructive and oppressive to other people? Would I want someone treating me like this? Would I date me? But let's say you're not encouraging this. And let's say you are just like trying to be as clear as possible that, Fai, this is never going to happen. Oof. Boys don't take hints. They're very literal. They're very obtuse and obvious. You know, they like jerky and sneakers with socks and trucks and just like big, gaudy, loud, obvious things, you know, like big things. So subtlety is very often lost on them. And like, again, back to this conversation that I had this morning, like I was trying to explain how I felt in a way that left no room for confusion. I don't know why I'm like have to talk this out like with the internet, where it's like, I didn't want someone to misunderstand how I felt. And for myself, I didn't want to be like, oh, I left cards on the table, you know, and maybe his reaction was because he didn't know how I felt or he didn't know the reality of the situation. And it's like, okay, well, now you know. So fucking cool. We'll see what you choose to do with that information. But enough about me. Let's say, yeah, you're not encouraging this. Guys don't understand subtlety. We have to be firm. And we have to be clear, and we can never use qualifiers. What does that mean, a qualifier? At this time, right now, I'm just too busy with school. No, girl. I remember someone had to like reject a guy, like a longtime guy friend who was like flipping the script and coming on to her and blah, blah, blah. And she wrote this long email, like politely, sweetly rejecting blah, blah, blah. And in there at the very, very end of this 1 billion word email was, right now, I don't think this is a good idea. And I read it. I was like, that is the only phrase he is going to see. That's the only thing he's going to hear. Because when you like someone, you're looking for loopholes. You're looking for entrances. They're looking for exits sometimes. And the heart is operating on loopholes. Do you know how I know this? 3 words. Cosmos, bedside, astrologer. Do you know how many times I've consulted that fucking thing trying to like look at it this way and that way to find out that a guy likes me? Oh, because he's Scorpio rising, then clearly. You want any sort of sign, from fortune cookies to bird signs to smoke signals, that somebody is into you. And if they give you that little ember of hope, you are going to nurse it into the mightiest of flames. And she's like, oh, no, he's not. He's going to get the message. I was like, all right, send it. Sure enough, what did he write back? Well, because you said right now, that's the only thing he heard. And I was like, now you know what you got to do? This again. You are back at square one with this shit, girl. And sure enough, she did. So a phrase I love that my mom says all the time: sometimes you got to be cruel to be kind. It is, again, doing no one any favors to pussyfoot around the truth. And that's what it is, pussyfooting. And we can't, again, be the person who we don't want to encounter. It sucks to get rejected. It's awful, but it's infinitely worse to be strung along and lied to or gaslit, you know? Nobody wants to hear, I'm just not that into you, but it's the ripping off of a Band-Aid. When we look back at like people who cheated on us or something, we're not, I mean, of course we're mad about the betrayal, but we're mad about the time, and we're mad about how foolish we look. It's like, I had no idea this was the deal. And I wish you had just told me you didn't want to be with me instead of dragging me down this dead fucking end for however long. So here is the script. I wouldn't do it in person. I'm a wuss, and I don't like to do things in person. I don't like to be broken up with in person. I want to just be like, okay, thank you. And then like fall apart. I don't need to do it in the middle of Applebee's. And text, I mean, you can do it during text, but just don't do it in person. You say, Fai, I love our friendship, but I want to be clear that is what this dynamic is for me. I don't have romantic feelings for you, and it's not your fault and it's not my fault. It's simply a matter of chemistry, and that's not because one of us isn't doing something or one of us isn't enough. It's simply like an animal instinct that is not there. I understand that maybe this isn't your feeling, and I also understand if we need to take a break from this dynamic until it does become a true neutral friendship. That's it. That's it. But I think you're great. Don't do it. Don't do it. Put it out there and let it lie. And it's brutal to do that. It sucks. Like, as the older I've gotten, I was like, I would so much rather be dumped than dump someone else, because then you can just like be wounded and like, oh, and you don't have to second guess yourself and you don't have to feel guilty. You're just like a puddle on the floor. So this is what you do next. You leave that boy be. Don't chase the fandom, because it isn't a friendship, it is the fandom. Don't chase that fan. And I hear this from you guys, it's like, oh, what, so I rejected him and then I call him, he doesn't want to hang out with me. It's like, no shit, dude. Like, of course he doesn't. You rejected him. Let this even back to neutrality. If it was ever there to begin with, and maybe it wasn't. You can't get back to a place you've never been, right? And so if you guys were never actually neutral friends, if maybe he's been in love with you from the jump and just never asked you out or whatever it was, or he did and it didn't work and you kept him around for the fandom, it's going to be really hard to become friends because you've never actually experienced what that is, right? You've experienced the low, long hum of a guy liking you. So it's like, he's my best friend. No, girl, he's your biggest fan. It's not the same. So you're acting like you're going to lose something you actually have never had. It's important to remember. But if you do want a shot at a friendship, maybe you guys were friends when you were 11 or whatever it was, let the dust settle. He can't be friends with you until he falls for someone else. Oh, I'm sorry, what? Did that make you cringe? You're like, fall for someone else. What is that cringiness of? Losing the president of your fan club. Aha! See? If that like made you twitch, the thought that he's going to date someone else, then you especially need to be out of this situation because it's not neutral. Hopefully, though, you were like, oh my God, yes, I would love it if you got a girlfriend. I like hanging out with him. I like playing video games, but I don't need this constant like puppy dog eyes. I just chill, bro. Hopefully that's it. But this is going to take time. It's going to take weeks, if not months. And you will expedite this process by icing him out. And it's going to be tough. It's going to be tough from your ego point of view because you're going to want the attention. And it's going to be tough from your empathetic point of view because if he's reaching out to you in pain and saying stuff, you're going to want to pacify him and say nice things. Well, I think you're really great and I'm so sorry. I'm just busy with school. Every time you say something like that, you are bringing this back to square one. You are prolonging this and dragging it out, right? Don't say but tell him, be like, I don't think we should speak. Let's unfollow each other for 2 months. Let's not be at the same events. I'll go to Starbucks on odd days. You go here, whatever. But because you can say I do want to be friends with you, but I know that really takes time and effort to get it to a neutral place. And I get if that's not where this dynamic is right now. Don't make it accusatory. It's I know you like me so much. That's impossible. This dynamic, though, that's the phrase, right? It's neutral. It's non-accusatory, and it's ego saving for him. Because ostensibly he is a nice dude and you want him around, ostensibly. Hopefully this is not just a case of fandom run amok. And same with Kendall and Kylie. Hopefully they're not just keeping Fai around because he's nursing crushes on 3 out of the 5 sisters. Perhaps 5 out of 5. 6 if you count Chris. She's a bad bitch. Time will tell though, because if there's one thing the Kardashians aren't great at, it's keeping a secret. I want to know what you guys have to say about the friend zone. When have you been in it? Have you gotten out of it? Tell me your tales. Tell me how. How did you do it? And how did you shut down a dude who was in the friend zone? Or did you give him a try and you're like, holy shit, this is an amazing relationship? I want to know. Like I said, find me on Instagram at ShallonXL and be sure to find me on InStream. I've got a kissing tutorial and a nice HJ tutorial too. BJ's on the way next week. See you later, Shalloners.